Hello, everybody. Welcome to Recovery Lab TV. My name is Chris. I'm a coach and sports therapist, and welcome to this live streaming video. It is all about how to become the ultimate IRONMAN Wales supporter. It is a video that I've been asked to do by a number of people so they can send it off to their loved ones and their families. So if you're watching this and you've been sent this, then the important thing is your family and friends love you and want you to be there for them and for the big day. So this video is all about IRONMAN Wales. It is an incredible race. I hope you have an incredible weekend supporting your loved ones, supporting your friends, your family, and just being in the environment as well. One thing I would fully recommend is fully submerge yourself into this experience. It is an incredible experience, and the more you kind of submerge yourself into it, the more you're going to get out of it. Okay. Um, it is probably one of the biggest days of this athlete's life. The person you know, the people that you are watching kind of run around this course or swim or bike around this course. They've kind of typically trained for at least 9 months, sometimes even more. Sometimes it's been several years building up to this. So it's an incredibly important day for them. So just be aware of that and kind of be mindful how you're kind of speaking to people around the course and kind of sharing their excitement and not necessarily feeding into their anxieties. So in this swim, I'm going to talk about swim support, the bike course support, the run course support, and general kind of little bits of information, kind of key locations, key parking areas, if you will, just to kind of help you out throughout the day. So swim support going in, I've made a little list. So if you see me kind of jumping back and forth, just know that, okay? So swim support, it is on Tenby North Beach, for those who don't know, and it is a iconic, breathtaking beach where kind of one of my closest friends, the first time I did IRONMAN Wales back in 2016, it was said by my friend that it kind of reminded him of a Roman Colosseum from the top, where it just kind of domed around, and you had these kind of Ironman gladiators, if you will, kind of going to war in the swim. And sometimes it certainly feels like that. Hopefully this time it will look and feel calm for the athletes. But iconic Tenby, right? You've got all the beautiful housing along the kind of the beachfront, and it's kind of what Tenby is famous for. Now, the best views are going to be up on the cliff tops, kind of on the promenade above Tenby North Beach. If you want some more submerged approach, get my words out. It's going to be right there on the beach. Now, the best ways to get on the beach are either if you go right round towards the bridge, going up towards Tenby North Beach car park. There are a set of stairs, however, they are very narrow, so only kind of you have to let people pass. You kind of have to stop and kind of lean over. That's how narrow they are. Okay, so going down might not necessarily be a problem, because obviously most of us are going to be going down to the beach. If you head over to the harbour, you can walk down towards the harbour, and then there is a walkway along the harbour front all the way to North Beach. And as you're looking out into the water, you'll be coming from this pathway, and you'll come out onto the beach there, and then you'll have a bit of free reign. That path is much wider, and probably as wide as a car or vehicle, so you have a lot more space. You also have sections where just before the zigzags, famous zigzags that the athletes will run up, there are a set of stairs that kind of go down to there. But once you're there, because you're not allowed onto the zigzags, you're kind of pretty stuck. Now, that's great for a lot of people because they want to be there. So then as you're running up the ramp, it's the first kind of section where you're kind of going to see your athletes. So either being on the beach kind of section where you're going to be a bit more submerged into the atmosphere. You're a lot closer to the flames coming up and the music and the swim start itself. However, if you want a kind of a bird's eye view of it, staying up at the top is going to be your best shout. Now, as they come out the zigzags, they're running up towards the Red Lion pub, a hotel even, and that's where they then turn down towards the Premier Inn and down towards the kind of turning just before the fire station. Now, that's a great section along here because you're getting all the athletes coming up. However, it is rammed. Okay, so if you want a spot, then right up against the barrier, then similar to kind of concerts or festivals, you want to be there kind of relatively early, if you will. So you're kind of getting the best spots. Now, my personal top tip, transition tends to open up at 5, tends to close just before 7. And typically you want to be there with your athletes. Okay, so I recommend arriving early. I recommend arriving between 5 and past because it gets packed. I would highly recommend, regardless of whether it looks like a beautiful day or not, wrap up warm. Okay, bring warm clothing, bring a coat, a jacket. I tend to wear a dry robe at these sorts of things and a hoodie underneath and so on. Bring a flask because the fire station is open for teas, coffees, and bacon rolls, which is great. You'll have a couple of kind of like burger vans around and some coffee shops opened up early. I think Tesco's on the main high street is opened up early as well. And I think Greg's kind of a couple doors down is open, but there's limited spaces open. So bringing a flask to get that kind of morning coffee kickstart is really going to help you. Bring cameras, bring film kind of equipment, use your phones, so on. Bring cowbells, horns, whether they're the ones you kind of blow in or the ones that kind of have gas cylinders. Signage, something my partner does and my kids do is create Ironman signs that we tend to bring to every kind of Ironman race. It cheers up the athletes, especially if you have young kids. It allows the athletes to kind of tap those boards and tap those signs, and then it just spurs the athlete on. But it also gets the kids involved, and it's a brilliant way because I remember when my kids were really young, it kind of really makes them feel involved. And even as an adult, having the guys to touch the sign, having them to kind of laugh at the signs, you can come up with some brilliant signage that kind of cheer athletes up and kind of really kind of spur them on along their way. And yeah, so that's the kind of swim. Now, going out onto the bike course, okay, you're going to have your athletes come out towards the road, towards where you've got that little corner section. So you've got the firehouse, little corner section where Domino's Pizza is, and I think is a statue and a kind of a small little garden area. Then it kind of heads down, if you're facing Domino's, heads down left towards the multi-story car park. Sorry, it's really early in the morning trying to get all this out. So yeah. Heads down towards the multi-story car park. Now, some people will stay around by this section, this kind of like a forecourt area, purely because you can see the swimmers out, and you can also see your athlete come out on the bike as well. So it's a nice little area that you can see a bit of both, because once they're out on the bike, generally they're out and gone for anything up to 8 hours. Whew. Now, support on the bike, because it's limited. Most of us tend to have a bit of breakfast once they've gone, and then we head out towards Heart Rate Hill. Now, as you kind of head out the top of the run course, the best way to do it is by foot, unfortunately, because the roads are going to be closed, and if you move your cars from the designated car park areas that you've parked, it's going to be really limited to finding more spaces. So you're better off leaving your cars where they are and kind of heading out towards kind of Saundersfoot, heading out towards New Hedges. Now, at the top of New Hedges, you've got a feed station. Now, as you're kind of going down that hill, this is where it kind of starts to look like Tour de France. You have all of the tri clubs down this road. You have hundreds and hundreds of people, and typically, like on Tour de France, during the hill section, you have all of these supporters and these cyclists going up through the middle of them, and it's really iconic. It's incredible. It's after a really long climb. St. Bride's further down and around the corner is Heartbreak Hill, and is another famous location where you're kind of coming up there, heading up towards directly in front of St. Bride's Hotel. And as you come round, you're eventually coming up kind of the hill towards New Hedges. Now, there's those two sections that are kind of on one climb, if you will. And it tends to be on the last climb of the bike course before you kind of finish lap one. And then obviously kind of finishing lap two before you go back into Tenby. I apologize. So Heartbreak Hill is a incredible hill. Now, if you are cycling and you kind of want to go a little bit further, or you're just wanting to go a little bit further because you're staying in Saundersfoot itself, then St. Bride's Hill is also a brilliant hill to kind of support on. It's a super tough hill. It's one of the bigger climbs, if you will, and it's kind of one of the ones that are less supportive, although you tend to have a lot of people who are cyclists on that hill. And you also tend to have a gentleman, I don't know his name, but he goes out there and he times everybody kind of up that hill. Depending on how quick you are, he might be there for both laps. So you're trying to get like beat times and so on and so forth. He's been doing that since forever. So iconic hills and key stages of the climbs are Saundersfoot, like I said, that Heartbreak Hill, going up towards St. Bride's, again on the same climb, but further around the corner, going up to New Hedges, Wiseman's Bridge, and Narberth. Narberth is a little further out, a little further afield. However, if you're willing to travel and you're out on a bike, then I highly recommend these kind of free sections, just because one, it's going to give you a lot of diversity. However, like most people, your best bets are probably kind of Tenby and Saundersfoot if you're walking. Now, parking tips. The park and ride is going to be your key location. So if you travel to Tenby, you have the top location towards the high school. You have down the bottom of Tenby, you have a car park, a little roundabout. Okay, if you're facing the kind of petrol station, on your left-hand side is a car park, right? And then if you head up this way, there's Kiln Park, right? If you head down towards the car park, there's a further car park further along the field. There's also a park and ride system outside of Tenby that you can pay for and literally get a bus into, and it kind of drops you at this location. The best thing to do is check the Ironman Athlete Guide for the park and ride information. If you're kind of also willing to park, you can park Tenby North Beach and also Tenby kind of multi-story car park. Now, Tenby multi-story, you have to get there super early because there are very limited spaces in Tenby North Beach multi-story car park. Same with the North Beach car park. Now, the problem with the North Beach car park is if you park there, you are stuck there for the day. Because the run course is on that car park, you will not be able to get out until after kind of, I think, 9:30, 10 o'clock is the earliest they're going to let you out, and they're going to let you out slowly because there's still potential athletes on that run course. The best place to park is this side of Tenby, so the multi-story car park, further down towards that car park, down towards the petrol station, and then even towards kind of Kiln Park area and the high school just above, kind of on the hill towards kind of Kiln Park area. and down towards the leisure centre. Um, those are going to be the best areas, just because once the bike course is done, you can leave at any time, because that whole section is going to be kind of free, if you will. Okay. Just be mindful of parking around the kind of the town, if you will, in regards to residential areas, just because residents obviously still want to kind of do life, and naturally there's going to be a load of us coming in. So use the park and ride systems, use the kind of the natural parking areas, and just be mindful. Okay. Um, do your very best to arrive kind of early and well before road closure times. Again, check Ironman Wales Athlete Guide for the timings. But typically, like I said, you kind of want to be there between 5 and 5:30, 6 at the very latest, if you will, because naturally, the longer you leave it, it does get rammed, and everyone is trying to get into Tenby at this time as well. Okay. So personally, I would rather arrive towards 5 o'clock than towards 6 o'clock. Okay. Oh, and like I said, avoid moving your car between multiple hotspots unless you're on foot or bike. Traffic is extremely restricted, and traffic's going to be super heavy. Now, the run course. Run course is quite easy to support. Okay, it's a 4-loop run course around Tenby Town Centre. The only difference is you kind of go out kind of towards North Beach, and you go up towards the hill, up towards New Hedges. Now, typically, as years have gone on, there's more support around New Hedges as time has gone on. A lot of people nowadays, if you're up that way, have the kind of little marquee tents. Stick them up. They will have their own barbecues. They will have their own speakers. They will have their own chairs, their camping chairs, and so on and so forth. They'll have a crate full of beers, crate full of food, and they will set themselves up for the day. That has grown massively along that kind of section of the run course as time has gone on. It's got busier and busier as the years have gone on, which is incredible, because when I first started, there was no support up there. So it's really iconic. It's really good, but obviously you kind of got to walk out that way. The good thing is it's kind of on the walk back from Saundersfoot. So if you wanted to go to Saundersfoot for the bike and go on Heartbreak Hill, then obviously you could come back, set up camp, set yourself up, and then obviously you are good for the day. And then most people will stay there for a few loops and then come back into Tenby Town. Now, if you're in Tenby Town, you are in the hub of it, and because of the nature of the course, it's kind of windy up and down the street. You're in a pretty good spot where you got a lot of little cut throughs, so you don't have to follow your athlete up. You can literally support them here, cut through to the adjacent street, and support them on this street as well. And that's a brilliant kind of section for that. You also have the main high street. You have Tudor Square. The Esplanades and the atmospheres around these key areas are absolutely electric because of the pubs, the cafes, and just the kind of environment of the street. Everyone is kind of there typically having a drink. Everyone is typically getting behind the athletes, cheering them on, because of the bibs have athlete names on. Typically, it makes it easier to kind of shout their names, get them supportive, and so on. Try to be as encouraging as possible, and just support the athletes and lift them up, as opposed to tell them how long they got left or the distance or so on and so forth, just because they're very aware and they kind of have that hyper awareness, how sore they are, how tired they are, how hard it is, and so on. So just tell them some supportive, encouraging words that they can do it and that they're really capable. Okay. Practical tips for you guys. Okay, download the Ironman Tracker app. Okay, it will allow you to follow and support them. Please be aware that Tenby is a nightmare for signal. The app is good, but it is limited because it relies heavily on internet usage. So sometimes the internet usage can be a nightmare. However, the app will update itself every time your athlete goes over a timing mat. So sometimes just be aware there might be a slight delay. and your athlete might be either earlier than it looks like, or slightly later than it looks like. However, once they've gone over that timing mat, it is a exact location of where they are right there and right then. But depending on their pacing and whether that's changing, it might not necessarily give a true reading to the next timing mat. Okay, if they're on pace and they're maintaining, then absolutely. If they're not, then it will slightly adjust. Okay. Pack for all weathers. We live in Wales, and naturally, the weather changes massively in Britain, let alone Wales. So bring rain jackets, bring sun cream, bring extra layers because it is a long day out. Bring camping chairs if you kind of want to sit down, or if you need to sit down because of health related issues, or just the fact that you want to get comfy on the course. Um, People set up camp all around the place, so it is an incredible thing. You don't have to worry whether you're kind of in the way, because people expect it, and it's a kind of a done thing. So don't necessarily worry about that. Bring a bag full of snacks, bring some water, bring some coffee, some flasks, some foldable chairs, like I said, because it is a full day out. Typically, if your athlete is a 14-hour athlete, then you have a 14 to 15-hour day ahead of you just as well. So be mindful of that. You might also want to kind of head back to your car, depending on, and have a nap, if you haven't got accommodation. So just be mindful of that. You might kind of want to kind of have a little spot where, similar to me now, yawning, you're wanting to head out and kind of head back to the car for a couple of hours, have a little nap. So maybe you want a sleeping bag, maybe you want a blanket in the car, just to have 5 minutes or a couple of hours while your athlete is out on the bike on its furthest point, and then come back in, meet them there. They're going to be none the wiser, but you're going to feel a little fresher. So just be aware of that. Now, as you know, accommodation sells out very quickly. So if you're watching this in advance, then well done for you. Book that accommodation early because it sells out very early. And if I was you, I would book a year in advance to get the best prices. Staying by, you're looking at Saundersfoot, Tenby Town Centre, Pembroke, Narberth, or kind of local campsites. If you're into camping, Kiln Park is a brilliant one, just because it has a kind of walkway at the back of the park right to the Ironman finish line, pretty much along kind of South Beach area. Okay. Final thoughts for you guys. Okay, supporters are the heartbeat, absolute heartbeat of IRONMAN Wales. It is your energy and your encouragement that makes this race incredible. And you can be the difference between whether an athlete finishes or whether they quit and stop. Okay, so just be mindful of that. Okay, Ironman Wales is known for its iconic support. It is incredible. I've done this race 4 times. I've done Ironman, full Ironman distance races 7 times, as well as, I think, 70.3s now. It's either 12 or 14 times. So I've done enough to know that the support in these races are phenomenal. It's what keeps me coming back. As the sport has grown from when I first started right the way to now, it is electric. And the more you get involved, I've seen people get involved by wearing fancy dress, by wearing their club clothing, by making incredible signs, by going fully on, like, by bringing your own speakers, by playing music, by dancing, by cheering on. The more energy you bring to the party, the more you're going to get out of it, and the more you're going to enjoy it. So be a part of Ironman, and make the difference for your athlete and the athletes that are kind of going around you, because honestly, you will make someone's kind of life memory, if you will, because this is a huge moment in someone's life, in your athlete's life, whether they're a loved one or friend or whatever, or they're just a complete stranger. You could make their day just by being there. Cheer loudly, bring cowbells, bring foghorns, bring kind of those little clappy hands, those kind of winders and stuff. By the end, your hands are gonna know by clapping, and your voice is gonna be pretty much gone, like you're singing at festivals and stuff. So make sure you're drinking, staying hydrated, and looking after yourself. But yeah, be the difference in someone's day, and kind of enjoy the day as best as you possibly can. All right. Just be aware at the end of the day, your athlete is going to be good for nothing. Okay. They're going to be struggling walking. They're going to be struggling carrying their equipment and their bags and their bikes. So just be aware of that, because they're probably going to need help carrying those things, as well as kind of potentially getting them dressed once you get back to their accommodation, getting them in the shower, getting them food, and so on and so forth. Just kind of be prepared for that as well. Okay, maybe the following couple of days as well. All right. I hope this video helps. If you have any comments, chuck them in the comment section, and I can send you over some links, or answer any of these questions you may have. Otherwise, enjoy the video. Share it with other supporters, your other athletes, and I hope to see you down there. I will be down there supporting this year, so I'm really looking forward to that. Look out for the Recovery Lab logo, and come say hi if you see me. Okay. Otherwise, take care. Have an amazing day. Have an incredible weekend. To you athletes potentially watching, I wish you nothing but the best. I will be filming and uploading a video next week about IRONMAN Wales. So if I get you in the video, then by all means, let me know where, and let me know how you did. All right. Otherwise, take care. Have an amazing day, and I shall see you again soon.